The NFL MVP is the ultimate bragging rights, crowning the best of the best every season. And in 2024, the competition's been wild. Here at Kickoff Zone, we're breaking down the MVP race, from its wild history to the biggest contenders and those sneaky dark horses. Plus, we'll reveal who we think is taking home the trophy. Whether you're a football junkie or just here for the drama, stick around. Our pick might just blow your mind. The NFL MVP award has been the ultimate flex in American football since 1957. And the first guy to flex it? Cleveland legend Jim Brown. Not only was he the inaugural winner, but he's also the only rookie to ever snag the award. In 1957, Brown racked up 942 yards on the ground and 9 TDs in just 12 games, leading the league and setting the bar for greatness right out of the gate. And then there's Peyton Manning. The guy has 5 MVP trophies, which feels borderline greedy. Hey, Peyton, save some for the rest of the league. But here's the thing, he's earned every single one. His ability to dominate over multiple eras, including 2004 with 49 TD passes, and in 2013 with 55 TDs and 5,477 yards through the air, makes him the GOAT of MVPs. Of course, while Peyton might own the MVP hardware, Brady's over there with all the Super Bowl rings. And let's not forget Mahomes and Jackson already have 2 each, so Manning's record might not be safe for long. But not every MVP pick has been a winner. Enter Mark Moseley, the Washington kicker who won it in 1982. A kicker? During that strike-shortened 9-game run, Moseley nailed 20 of 21 field goals, including a bunch of clutch game winners that kept Washington in the mix. Look, no disrespect to special teams. They're the reason we get bathroom breaks during some games. But a kicker winning MVP? It left some fans shaking their heads. What's your favorite MVP story? Which historic NFL MVP performance blew your mind? Or who do you think got robbed and made you mad? Let us know in the comments, because the history of this award is full of wild twists and we're here for it. Ever wonder who gets to pick the NFL MVP? Spoiler alert, it ain't us, though we'd probably nail it. A group of 50 sports writers and broadcasters handle the voting. We're told these folks know their stuff, and they aren't tied to the league. So it's not a fan popularity contest like the once proud Pro Bowl. Back in the day, they'd just pick one guy for MVP, but since 2022, voters rank their top 5 players. It's kind of like a fantasy draft, but nobody's drafting CMC first overall. By the way, rest in peace to all the fantasy owners who picked him this year. This system, though, gives us a clearer idea of who's really dominating the race. The voting wraps up at the end of the regular season, before the playoffs start. So no, what happens in the postseason doesn't count. Then they keep the winner under wraps until the NFL Honors Show, which happens the night before the Super Bowl. So what does it take to bring home the MVP trophy in the NFL? It's not just about putting up crazy stats, though let's be real, that's a big part of it. An MVP has to dominate on the field, carry their team when it matters, and have those "did you see that" moments that we'll be talking about for years, like Josh Allen getting a passing and receiving TD on one play. We didn't even know that was a thing. The MVP is the player you'd bet your team's entire season on. They're the guys who make teams sweat and fans hold their breath every time they touch the ball. And yeah, it's usually a quarterback, because let's face it, quarterbacks get all the love. But every now and then a running back or even a kicker, Mark Moseley, sneaks in there to shake things up. Recent MVPs like Mahomes and Lamar didn't just rack up the stats, they made us feel something. Mahomes was out there slinging sidearms and pulling off impossible comebacks, while Lamar had defenses looking like they were chasing shadows. That's what MVPs do. They don't just win games, they own the season. So as we look at this year's contenders, keep this in mind. The MVP isn't just the best player, it's the player who carries their team to greatness. And sometimes even to a Super Bowl win. All right, let's talk about the underdogs. Those players flying just below the radar but still making a serious case for MVP. Now, if you told us just 2 years ago that Jared Goff would be in the MVP conversation, we'd have laughed you out of Ford Field. But yet here we are. Goff has been lighting it up with over 4,300 yards, 36 TDs, and barely turning the ball over. And those Lions? They're winning. And not just squeaking by. They're dominating. Who saw this coming? Maybe Dan Campbell, but probably not the Rams. Let's be real. Defenders don't win MVP. But Micah Parsons isn't just any defender. The guy has 12 sacks, 40 tackles, and enough QB pressures to turn game plans into scrap paper. He's basically a one-man wrecking crew in a Cowboys jersey. Sure, the MVP usually goes to QBs. But if voters want to honor someone who can destroy an offense single-handedly, Parsons is your man. Running backs getting MVP love is rare these days, but Saquon's season might just force the issue. He's ripped off over 2,000 yards on the ground, numbers we haven't seen since Adrian Peterson's heyday. And let's not forget that ridiculous backward jump. Plays like that alone should come with an MVP trophy. Barkley is carrying the Eagles' offense, and if voters want to reward a non-QB, Saquon's the guy. Who's your favorite MVP dark horse? Got another name we missed? Let us know in the comments, because these underdogs are putting up big-time performances that demand attention. All right, now it's time to talk about the heavyweights, the players who've been balling out all season and are leading the MVP race. Lamar Jackson is doing things again. He's shredding defenses with his arms and legs, piling up 4,172 passing yards and another 915 yards on the ground. He's basically turned every game into a highlight reel. He's playing Madden on rookie mode. Oh, and let's not forget the Ravens are winning, which always helps in the MVP race. The way he's carrying his team, you'd think he was auditioning for a third MVP. Josh Allen has been a wrecking ball this season. Whether he's dropping bombs through the air or bulldozing his way into the end zone, the guy just makes plays. And who could forget about that wild play against the 49ers where he threw a pass and caught one in the same series? He stacked up 4,000 passing yards, 36 TDs, and 600-plus rushing yards while keeping the Bills at the top of the AFC. Allen has had some clutch moments this year, and this could be his year to finally snag that MVP trophy. If passing yards were currency, Joe Burrow would be printing money. He leads the league with 4,918 passing yards and 43 TDs, all while running one of the most efficient offenses in the league. But let's be honest, if his defense made some stops, Burrow might be the clear MVP frontrunner. Still, his ability to keep the Bengals in games week after week is why he's in the conversation. So who's your pick from this group of superstars? Do you think one of the contenders has it locked up? Or is there someone else you've got your eye on? Hit us up in the comments and let's hear your MVP takes. Drum roll, please. I said drum roll, please. Obviously, no MVPs around here, because it's time to crown our MVP for 2024. After crunching the stats, reliving the highlights, and debating every game-changing moment, our pick is Josh Allen. Allen has been an absolute force this season, proving why he's one of the most dynamic players in the league. Remember that insane rushing TD against Kansas City? The man bulldozed his way through defenders like he was auditioning for a linebacker role. Plays like that are what make him a lock for MVP this year. At this rate, he'll need a few more seasons like this to catch Peyton Manning's 5 MVPs. But hey, at least Allen's doing it as a quarterback, unlike that kicker we talked about earlier. His best performances this season were pure MVP material. In Week 15, Allen dropped 362 passing yards and 3 TDs on Detroit, leading a comeback that had Bills Mafia losing their minds. And then there was his clinic against Miami, where he threw 4 TDs and added another one on the ground. Allen made it look so effortless. that you'd think he was back in Firebaugh, California, tossing the ball around on the family cantaloupe farm. And if you watched our Josh Allen history video, you'd already know about his roots. Here's the thing. Allen's got the stats, the highlights, and the wins. But if there's one thing left on his checklist, it's a Super Bowl ring. MVPs are great, but in the NFL, a Lombardi trophy is what truly cements a legacy. Bills Mafia sure hopes this is the year he finally brings one home. If he does, this MVP season will be the first chapter in something even bigger. The 2024 MVP race has been one for the books, and while our pick is Josh Allen, the debate is far from over. How many Lamar fans are going to tell us we're wrong? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Kickoff Zone so you don't miss when we're right about the 2025 MVP prediction too.